Good morning. This is the Memorial Garden video for historical purposes. I'm Patricia Tripp and this is Lynn Hayes, and we came up with this idea in the early 2000s. We're not exactly sure when. We decided that we did not want to be in the New Milford Cemetery, and we spend a lot of time in church, so this is the answer to that. We will be memorialized here with a lot of our friends. This is a picture of the garden, and you may have a flyer at any time. We have lots of them if you would like to know more. We found the garden in the lower county, down county, that looked a little like what we wanted, so we based it on that garden. And Wayne Lavender was here and knew it was there, so that's how we got it. It looks a little bit like it, but it's the same principle. It needs to be simple, lasting, quiet, and not in your face. So that's what we've got.
Just a little before we go on, I do remember when we drove down Route 7 during a weekday, and we were obviously going shopping, and we got talking about this kind of a thing. Could we do it here? Would the people of the church support it? And we just decided we'd put it before them, and it was approved, so that's how we got started. Doug Baldwin designed the garden for us. He's at Fieldstone Nurseries, and we think he did a wonderful job designing something that's just very simple, but really the beauty is in the simplicity. He also suggested all of the bushes and ground cover that we would use, and some of them are still here after almost 20 years. Some of them have survived the area and still are looking beautiful. We also had Brad Johnson, who was the gentleman who dug out the area. This was all wooded originally. He dug out the area. He laid the stones for us and did the pathway. We actually had him come back and do the pathway going down towards the chapel in the Pines. So there's a really a neat route to go to the chapel in the Pines just by coming through here and stopping and looking at all the names on the stones and remembering many of our members who have passed, and some who are here that are still here, and the stones will be ready, the position will be ready for them when that time comes.
Each stone has got a name, and if you have a number, that means you're not here anymore. So we try to keep all the fonts the same as the years go by, and we've had a terrible time getting masons or engravers to do this. We finally found a firm in Danbury that comes up, does all the work. It's not an easy process apparently, so nobody wants to do it. But these people were very good. They gave us a good price, and we've just done 20. This fall, I think.
15.
Okay, 15. Thank you. And anybody can be here as long as they're a member of the church or a relative of the church. We have a lot of mothers and fathers of our members now, and unfortunately some young people. Also, you can put your ashes behind the stones. The stones are about a foot deep. You can't get them out. As you can see, they're still where we put them. And so we have a grave digger who's a member of our church, and he cuts a place out from behind the stones. You put your ashes in some kind of a container, and then he covers it up again. So there are ashes here. And then we put your name, the people's names whose ashes we are in charge of, in the town hall, so that they will always be able to be found if they need to be. And the best part is we have some funds that we can keep the garden going for a long while, because you have to pay for the stones and the engraving. It's fairly nominal. I think probably between the two things you would end up paying between $400 or $500 to have a stone cut and with your vitals on it. But the perpetual fund will keep this going when we've got a number on our stone. We had a great committee. It was a bunch of people that just decided they would like to join us, and we had a lot of fun. That's pretty unusual when you're talking about death, but death can be pretty funny.
There's a tradition that when you come to see any particular stone, a person who is very near and dear to you, or a relative, or just somebody that you enjoyed being around or whatever, there is a little dish over by the bench when you first come into the garden. It has pebbles in there, and you can take that. Came from Ruth Ann and Rich Tomaszek, and you can take a pebble from that little dish and put it on the appropriate stone. So it's kind of just like a hello, I'm here, I'm visiting you, and you're precious to me. And a few of them have stones on them now. Periodically we take them off so that people, when they come a second time or a third time, they can put a stone on again. It was a tradition of a Jewish tradition, and we chose to continue that. Our committee members back then were a lot of fun. Don and Marcia Cairns were on the original committee. Art and Lori Putnam, Patty and Larry, Donnie and myself,
Dorothy O'Rourke. Some of these people are actually gardeners.
Yes. Dorothy O'Rourke is the one who took the other side of the walkway and made it into a perennial garden. And it's being kept up by a young lady who comes and helps us with planting and taking care of that. But it made for a very beautiful, I think, a very beautiful and very special way leading directly into the chapel in the Pines, which we use during the summertime each Sunday morning.
So as I said, we have lots of flowers, and if you would be interested in looking at the stones or talking to us about it, we'll talk to you, and thank you for listening.